I'm gonna get banned from this library.
Quick question, Lily. Has anybody ever told you that you look like if Raggedy Ann and Andy were in the same body?
It's all good.
But it was not all good.
You are cisgender.
What's up, everybody? Ty Rivera here, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world. All right, so I know we just did a LilyTino video the other day, but while I was doing my research for it, I went through Lily's TikTok and I saw this one and one other that I really wanted to address. I'm gonna break them up into two different parts because, to be honest, I can only handle so much of LilyTino, aka Buffalo Grills, aka Where Did I Put My Cake Pops?
I got my cake pops removed.
AKA Pennywise. She's just a grating person. And I know some of you get mad because I say she and her in reference to this. Understand, I'm trying not to lose my monetization here on YouTube. And if you haven't noticed, I'm pushing the line more and more every day. So just kick back, relax. If you want to put whatever you want to put down below in the comments, I don't mind. But at the same time, stop busting my cake pops about things nobody cares about. But today, what I really want to talk about is LilyTino is still pushing the cisgender thing, which for most of us, we're just not doing cisgender. But I know there are some people out there, and I've seen people in the comments saying, I don't understand why people get so upset about the term cisgender. By the end of this video, I will tell you why it is people are so offended by it, and not just sort of like, okay, I'm not doing it, but at the same time, it doesn't bother me that people say it. There is a legitimate reason that people do find that term so offensive. So let's start this video.
I'm gonna get banned from this library.
Why are you gonna start talking about your marshmallow tunnel?
To get my marshmallow wand reconfigured into a marshmallow tunnel. Focus. If you are someone who thinks that the word cisgender is a bad word,
I don't think anybody really thinks it's a bad word. We just think it's a stupid word. And by the way, I'm glad you're in a library today because you're about to get read.
I have a favor to ask. Define it.
No problem. The definition of cisgender is denoting or relating to a person whose gender identity corresponds with the sex registered for them at birth, not transgender. So in other words, normal, which means it's unnecessary, and that's why we're not going with it. But just to further educate you, LilyTino, the term cisgender was coined in 1994 in a Usenet news group about transgender topics. On that news group, Diane DeFosse, then a graduate student, sought a way to refer to non-transgender people that avoided marginalizing transgender people or implying that transgender people were an other. And that's the problem right there. The term was only coined in order to make transgender people feel better about themselves. And it's not up to the rest of us to add prefixes to what we are so that a very small part of the population feels better about themselves. And like I said, there is more to it, and we will get to that, but I'm gonna let you make your point before I tell you why so many people find it truly offensive that we're having this term cisgender forced on us, which I'm sure is something that you know, you just don't want to bring it up because it doesn't suit your narrative, which is something that's very typical of a trans rights activist.
Seriously, grab a dictionary and look it up, because I'm convinced that 99% of y'all don't know what it means.
Let's be honest, LilyTino, almost everybody knows what that word means because the trans community has constantly tried to force it on us. And I don't really understand why the trans community just can't respect that normal people don't want to be referred to as cis. I mean, how many different ways are we not allowed to refer to trans people? And as far as I know, none of us are trying to justify why it is we should be able to use terms that you don't like. If the trans community says they don't like these particular terms, then we don't use those particular terms. And not even just out of respect, but because the trans community will really go nuclear on you if you do not respect the fact that there are certain words and terms that they prefer that the rest of us not use. So being that that's the case, that you guys have so many words and terms that you don't want us to use because they're quote unquote offensive or you just don't like them, it should be completely okay that the rest of us just say, there's just one thing we prefer you not call us. There's just one thing we're asking for you not to call us in exchange for us not calling you all these other things that are true in most cases, by the way, but you don't like them, so we're not doing it. You even ask us to deny reality and accept you as being something something that we can clearly see and hear that you are not. So if you are willing to leave restaurants, if you are constantly victimized by reality, then we can give you a firm no when we say we don't want this stupid made up prefix put on us. Respect us the same way you want us to respect you.
Cis is a Latin prefix that means same or on the same side as.
Yeah, Lily, we know that it's a Latin prefix that means same or on the same side as.
So if when you were born they said it's a boy and that is the same gender that you feel you are cisgender.
I've already been over this, Lily. We just refer to that as normal. So if you were to just refer to me as a man instead of a cis man, everybody would know what you're talking about. If you were to refer to your mother as a woman and not a cis woman, everybody would know what you're talking about. Nobody would ever ask, did you mean a cis or a trans person? Nobody would ever be confused about that, other than possibly just your trans activist friends, and the only reason they'd be acting confused about it is to be stupid and insufferable. If the person's trans, you put the prefix on that person, and the rest of us, it can just be assumed that we are what we are. Except for if you're me, because for some reason people think that I'm trans all the time, and I'm not sure why that is. It doesn't offend me, it doesn't bother me, but I just will put it out there. I personally am not trans.
Trans, on the other hand, is a Latin prefix that means opposite or on the opposite side of.
Do you know how insulting it is for the rest of us to sit here and have to listen to you transplain why it is we're supposed to accept the language that you're trying to force on us that we've already said no to? It's time to just respect that we're not going for it and move on. You have lost the war in cis versus non-cis. We're saying, no cis, we ain't cis. Or in some cases, no bro, we ain't cis.
So if when you were born they said it's a boy and the gender you feel is opposite of that, you are transgender. Here's another example.
I don't think we need another example, but I'm gonna let you go on.
Imagine I give you this piece of gum and tell you that it is mint flavored.
Well, I actually wouldn't take any gum from you anyway, because to be honest, you kind of creep me out, and I wouldn't trust taking pretty much anything from you. I mean, you're creepy enough that if I were on fire and you offered me a fire extinguisher, I probably wouldn't trust that either, and I'd be like, girl, just let me burn. Who knows what's in that fire extinguisher? And I don't say you're creepy or I don't trust you because you're trans. You're just creepy, I don't trust you, and that's all there is to it. It has nothing to do with sex, gender, orientation, or anything else you could blame it on.
And when you open it up and start chewing it, lo and behold, it is minty. Since the flavor I said it was is the same as what it actually is, this is a cis flavor piece of gum.
Yeah, it's a normal piece of mint flavored gum. Do you actually write these out beforehand, or at least think about them a bit, possibly run them by a friend? Because this doesn't seem like the best example, but again, I'm gonna let you go on.
But what if when you open the gum it isn't minty and is actually cinnamon?
I'd be like, hey, stupid, you said you were gonna give me mint flavored gum, and for some reason you gave me cinnamon flavored gum. This is why I wouldn't take anything from you in the first place, because if you don't know if you're a man or a woman, how do I expect you to know the difference between mint flavored gum and cinnamon flavored gum? You're a constant bait and switch, and I'm stupid for trusting that you were going to give me the piece of gum you said that you were going to give me and not pull a fast one. So I don't blame you for this. I blame me for not just trusting my gut and going with my first instinct not to take gum from you in the first place. And then if after I went off on you like that, you were like, no, that was actually supposed to be a piece of mint gum in that wrapper, then I would say, okay, then we need to go back to the store and let them know that there is cinnamon gum inside of the mint wrapper. Then the store is going to give us another packet of mint gum that's actually mint gum. So we're going to open it up right there at the store, look at it, and if it's mint gum, we're good to go. If it's cinnamon gum, then we're going to go ahead and tell the store that it's still cinnamon gum, and then the store is going to hit their distributor up and say, hey, we ended up getting cinnamon gum inside of the mint package, and then the distributor is going to let the factory know that, and then the factory is probably going to do a recall, and then they're going to destroy all of the cinnamon gum that's inside the mint wrapper, because cinnamon gum is not supposed to come in the mint wrapper. So then the factory will be very careful to make sure that this does not happen again, because when people see a packet of mint gum and they want a packet of mint gum, they don't want to end up finding out that it's cinnamon.
In this case, the flavor of the gum is opposite what I said it was, making it a trans flavor piece of gum.
The problem with this example is that there's no such thing as trans flavored gum. Also, the gum isn't going to demand that even though it is in fact cinnamon flavored gum, I'm supposed to treat it as mint flavored gum. Also, the trans cinnamon gum is not going to demand that I use special pronouns to address it, since it is technically cinnamon flavored gum, but wants to identify as mint flavored gum. Also, the cinnamon gum that is identifying as mint flavored gum in this made up scenario isn't going to now demand that I go by cisgender, because cinnamon is supposed to be the new mint when there is no reason for a new mint. Everybody was fine with mint the way it was, and technically some people like cinnamon and some people like mint, but they are two different things. And also, I'm never gonna find out that the cinnamon gum actually doesn't even think that it is mint gum. It just likes to be in mint packaging because it makes them feel sexy. Also, the cinnamon gum isn't gonna demand to go into mint gum's locker rooms and bathrooms and insist that mint gum accepts cinnamon gum as being the same as mint gum, even though everybody knows cinnamon gum is different from mint gum, and mint gum has never had an interest in sharing bathrooms or locker rooms with cinnamon gum. Also, cinnamon gum isn't going to start taking awards and joining in mint gum sports, because cinnamon gum knows that it's cinnamon gum, and mint gum does definitely deserve to have its own sports, changing spaces, bathrooms, and language for that matter. It's mint gum, and that's cinnamon gum. But go ahead with your scenario. I'm open to it.
Hopefully you can see that the word cisgender isn't an insult.
Neither is autogynephile, crossdresser, or he, she. But you all don't want us to call you that, so we don't. Now, can it with the rationalization and just accept that we do not want you to call us that. Now, I'm going to let you finish, and then I'm going to drop the real knowledge on you, LilyTino, which, like I said, I know that you are aware of. It just doesn't fit your narrative, so you don't want to acknowledge it. But wrap it up, Mary. I got shit to do today. It's the holiday season, and to be honest, I'm running out of patience.
The only reason that people get upset about it is because if being cis is normal, then so is being trans, and they don't like that.
Being trans isn't normal. I didn't think that was ever in dispute. In more recent years, people like you have tried to make it seem like it is normal, but it's not normal. It's just that there are certain people like me and others that are willing to accept that every once in a while another human being can have a glitch, and that doesn't necessarily make them a bad person, and that doesn't necessarily mean that we have to ostracize them. But more recently, you guys really have gotten carried away with trying to push things on us like the term cisgender, and that will only make you continue to lose rights and privileges, because so many of us are tired of having to respect what it is that you are and what it is you would like, and then not getting that same respect back. And that's why so many of us are so clear about not taking on this silly prefix. But then there are some of us that actually know the true history of that word, or that particular term, cisgender. So let me tell you the reason that a lot of people are so offended by the term cisgender. You ready for this, Lily? The term cisgender was originally come up with by Volkmar Sagus, a German sexologist who also believes being a PDF file is a sexuality. Sagus believed that if there is a trans, in other words, a beyond physical gender, there must be a cis, in other words, a this side of physical gender as well. And that's why so many people get offended by the term cisgender and the amount that the trans rights activists try to push the term cisgender on the rest of us. Because like I've already said, it's stupid and it's unnecessary, because the rest of us don't have to be something different just because you all are something different. You all are free to be whatever you want, and very few people are really disputing that. But you will not change what we are, which that alone would just be a stupid, silly term, and we'd just be like, whatever. But the reason that so many people get truly offended by it is because nobody wants to go by a term that was created by a person that believes in or is trying to normalize goose and gander relationships, which more recently some people have been trying to normalize by referring to them as MAPs, otherwise known as minor attracted people. And as gay and lesbian, that is something that we fought against for a long time, is the stereotype that gays and lesbians were after the kids. And we were doing a really good job of getting rid of that stereotype altogether until the trans community came along and really started trying to push ideology on minors. So now not only have you taken us back steps in that way, but you're also trying to assign this term to everybody that was created by a person that believed that minor attracted people were a normal thing and something that should be somewhat normalized or accepted in society. For anybody that wants to do any kind of research on it, definitely do Google everything that I'm saying, because you will find the information that I'm talking about. It is readily available. And like I said at the beginning of the video, I know that there are some normal people, straight people out there that are like, I get that people don't want to go by that, but I don't understand why people are so offended about it. And that's why people are offended about it, because nobody wants to glorify or uphold the teachings or the thinking of a person that believes in something that's absolutely abhorrent. That's not something that we want to be associated with. That's not something that we want to have to one day celebrate. Like, whoever came up with the term cisgender, oh, well, let me tell you a story. And then you do the research and you're like, okay, that's terrible. And suddenly you don't want to be associated with it anymore. So not only is there the very logical reason of us not needing it, because up until this point, man has just been fine, woman has just been fine. People haven't had a problem with there being a trans man or a trans woman. It's only when trans rights activists started to encroach on what it was to be a man or what it was to be a woman that there was any kind of pushback, and people started trying to be like, oh, well, if you're going to try to take over what it is we are and assign this new language to us, then maybe we should have never tried to accept what it is you claim to be to begin with. Because apparently this is how confusion happens, and this is how movements will sometimes try to take over what was originally there. Anyway, let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. Like, comment, and subscribe. By the way, Merry Christmas, everybody. I hope you guys are having a good holiday with your family. So Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. If you want to see any more of my thoughts and opinions, click either one of the videos on the screen. As always, thank you for watching. This has been Ty Rivera, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world.
They bought into his bullshit.